While Americans are generally well received around the world, there are some places where U.S. citizens aren't greeted with open arms. For various reasons, certain countries maintain a rather chilly attitude towards American visitors. Let's explore the top 10 countries where Americans aren't welcome in 2024. Number 10, Myanmar. Let's start with Myanmar. As of 2024, this Southeast Asian country has a population of nearly 55 million. Americans aren't exactly greeted warmly here, and there are historical and current reasons for that. Since the military coup in February 2021, Myanmar has been plagued by turmoil, civil unrest, and armed conflict. Americans looking to visit face a labyrinth of visa applications and travel warnings. The U.S. government advises against traveling to Myanmar due to these ongoing issues, including arbitrary enforcement of local laws and limited healthcare resources. Imagine needing a visa that takes at least 3 working days to process, only to arrive and find out you're advised not to be there. Additionally, U.S. sanctions on Myanmar don't exactly endear American tourists to the locals. Number 9, Yemen. Now, let's head over to Yemen, a country with an estimated population of around 30 million. Yemen is another place where Americans might find the welcome less than warm. Since 2015, the country has been engulfed in a devastating conflict, resulting in a severe humanitarian crisis. For Americans, visiting Yemen comes with serious warnings about civil unrest, terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The U.S. State Department has issued a clear "do not travel" advisory. Obtaining a visa as an American? Nearly impossible. Yemen's strict visa policies and the country's instability make casual tourism almost unfeasible. Even if you manage to get in, the hostility towards Americans due to perceived involvement in the conflict and drone strikes makes it far from an ideal vacation destination. Number 8, Somalia. Next up is Somalia, a country with a population of about 15 million. This is where things get tricky for Americans. The chilly reception stems from factors like political instability and security concerns. In May 2022, President Joe Biden approved the redeployment of U.S. soldiers to fight the al-Shabaab insurgents. While this move is strategic from a defense perspective, it doesn't exactly make American tourists the most welcome guests. The visa process is extremely stringent. Imagine trying to thread a needle while riding a roller coaster. It's possible, but not without significant challenges. Hostilities range from bureaucratic hurdles designed to discourage visitors to serious security risks. It's a tough environment, especially given the ongoing humanitarian crisis, with millions displaced and struggling for food. Not exactly the setting for a warm welcome. Number 7, Venezuela. With a population exceeding 28 million, Venezuela has long had a tense relationship with the United States. Economic sanctions, political disputes, and mutual distrust have made it a difficult destination for Americans. By August 2023, the severe economic crisis had forced over 7.7 million people to leave the country, highlighting the dire conditions faced by many Venezuelans. For Americans considering a visit, obtaining a visa is a complex process that goes beyond simple paperwork, involving a system that can seem skeptical, if not outright hostile. Once there, the high cost of living and pervasive tension make daily life feel precarious. Although around 23,000 U.S. citizens reside in Venezuela, mostly in the Caracas area, they often experience the sense of being unwelcome guests in a country divided by political and economic turmoil. Number 6, Libya. Libya is a country with more plot twists than a season of Game of Thrones. As of 2024, it has a population of about 7 million people. So why isn't an American passport a golden ticket here? It's a mix of factors. The U.S. Department of State has a "do not travel" advisory for Libya due to dangers like crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Now, let's delve into the details. The relationship between the U.S. and Libya has been a roller coaster, especially following the 2012 attack on the U.S. mission in Benghazi. This event marked a turning point, heightening security concerns and making Libya a challenging destination for American travelers. Additionally, the visa process is extremely stringent. Americans wanting to visit Libya face tough visa requirements, and the Libyan government's policy of not allowing entry to passports with Israeli stamps adds another layer of complexity. Number 5, Syria. Syria, a country with a rich cultural and historical heritage, has sadly been overshadowed by conflict in recent years. The population is grappling with the harsh realities of civil war, making it another place where Americans might find a less than welcoming reception. The reasons are similar to those in Libya but are even more intense. The U.S. has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Syria, citing terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The Syrian government holds a hostile stance toward Americans, influenced by a complex geopolitical landscape involving sanctions, military actions, and diplomatic tensions. Obtaining a visa for Syria is akin to finding a needle in a haystack, with numerous obstacles reflecting the strained relations between the two nations. Even if one manages to secure entry, the ongoing conflict and general suspicion towards foreigners, particularly Americans, due to the U.S.'s regional involvement, create an unwelcoming environment. Number 4, Afghanistan. With a population of around 38 million, Afghanistan has long been a hotspot of geopolitical tensions. But why might an American find a chilly reception there? The U.S. Department of State currently advises against traveling to Afghanistan due to terrorism, the risk of wrongful detention, kidnapping, and crime. It's as if the country is saying, visit at your own risk, but with a strong undertone of, please don't. This warning isn't mere formality, it's grounded in a harsh reality where various terrorist groups operate, and Americans are prime targets for kidnappings and wrongful detentions. Imagine planning a trip only to realize you're on the most wanted list of a group you've never even heard of. For U.S. citizens, navigating the visa process to enter Afghanistan is anything but straightforward. A valid passport and Afghan visa are required for entry and exit, and those arriving without a valid visa face deportation, passport confiscation, and hefty fines. It's the country's way of saying, forgot something? Too bad. If you think getting a visa on arrival might be a loophole, think again. This process demands letters from the Ministry of Tourism or the Ministry of Information and Culture, and tourist visas are typically single entry, valid for 3 months, with a 1-month authorized stay. Number 3, Iraq. Iraq, home to roughly 40 million people, has experienced a tumultuous relationship with the United States, to put it mildly. The saga began with the 2003 US-led invasion, justified by concerns about weapons of mass destruction. Since then, the dynamic between the two nations has been intricate. What accounts for the lack of American warmth? Well, for starters, the visa process resembles solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. While Americans can secure visas upon arrival at airports, obtaining an exit stamp for their passports can prove exceedingly challenging. The visa application itself feels more like a marathon than a sprint, typically taking about 12 working days to process and necessitating a valid passport. It's less of a welcome to Iraq and more of a justify why we should permit your entry. Yet, it's not solely the bureaucratic hurdles that contribute to Americans feeling unwelcome. The security landscape resembles walking a tightrope over a canyon. With reports of government officials engaging in torture and other cruel treatments, and the presence of numerous armed factions, it's a stark reminder that the nation is still grappling with stability. Number 2, Iran. Iran, home to approximately 83 million people, is rich in ancient history, stunning landscapes, and complex relations with the United States. The roots of potential tension for Americans can be traced back to the 1979 Iran hostage crisis, when Iranian students seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, resulting in a 444-day standoff. Fast forward to today, and the situation remains tense. The U.S. State Department has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Iran, essentially advising travelers to reconsider their plans to visit Tehran. But what prompts such stern guidance? Firstly, there's the threat of terrorism, civil unrest, and notably, the arbitrary arrest and detention of U.S. citizens. It's not uncommon for Americans, especially those with dual nationality, to face incarceration on charges ranging from espionage to national security concerns. Now, let's talk about visas, because obtaining entry into Iran as an American is no simple task. The visa application process is like navigating a labyrinth. Americans should expect to wait anywhere from 1 to 3 months for a response, followed by additional waiting time at the embassy, ranging from a few days to 2 weeks. However, a crucial point to note, upon finally securing a visa and arriving in Iran, don't expect to use your Visa or MasterCard at local establishments. International credit and debit cards are not accepted, so you'll need to rely on cash unless you're skilled in the art of bargaining. Despite these challenges, Iran has its own allure. From the vibrant markets of Tehran to the ancient remnants of Persepolis, there's an abundance of culture and history awaiting exploration. Yet, it's imperative to recognize that as an American, you're navigating a politically intricate and geographically diverse landscape. While many Iranians offer unparalleled hospitality, exercising extreme caution is paramount. First up, North Korea. North Korea, officially known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, has a population of around 25 million people. Imagine it as the mysterious neighbor who never joins the neighborhood gatherings but watches everything from their window. The relationship between the US and North Korea has been fraught with tension, marked by decades of political strain, nuclear threats, and a war that technically continues since the 1953 armistice. Let's explore why North Korea seems particularly unwelcoming to Americans. For starters, the US government strongly advises against traveling to North Korea due to the high risk of arrest and prolonged detention. Remember Otto Warmbier? He was an American student who fell into a coma and later died after being detained in North Korea for allegedly trying to steal a propaganda poster. His case highlighted the severe dangers associated with visiting the country. Entering North Korea isn't simple. Since September 1, 2017, the US has banned its citizens from using their passports to enter North Korea, except under very specific circumstances. This essentially puts up a huge "Keep Out" sign for American tourists. Even before this ban, getting a visa as an American was extremely challenging, involving specialized travel agencies and highly supervised tour groups. Visitors are always under the watchful eye of a guide who ensures they follow the rules. If you do manage to enter North Korea, the experience is unique but heavily restricted. There are strict rules about what you can do, see, or photograph. Talking to locals without permission is forbidden, and joking about the leadership or the country can quickly land you in trouble. This level of control is hard for many Americans to understand, coming from a country where freedom of speech and movement are fundamental rights. In essence, visiting North Korea as an American is like tiptoeing on eggshells while blindfolded. You're never sure if your next move might endanger your freedom. The arduous visa process, the risk of detention for misunderstandings, and the pervasive surveillance make it a daunting destination. Despite its forbidden allure, it's wise to heed the old saying, "Curiosity killed the cat," and in North Korea, there may not be 9 lives. And if you want to know 10 most dangerous places in United States, there is a video on screen now. You can check it out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest exciting videos.